All right, take three. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Welcome back to Mac on the Move. 3:30 in the afternoon. Weather looks gorgeous. Yard's starting to shape up. Temperature up here is about 58 degrees. So that's a comfortable 58 degrees. So everybody down south suffering underneath 90, 100 degree temperatures. Sorry, but not sorry. Country up here is beautiful and everything. So that's the main reason. That's the reason why I retired from the Air Force up here. Loved it. I love hunting, fishing, and all everything. So yeah, we see a variety of stuff. Um, but let's have a discussion. Topic of the day. So the community I'm trying to build and everything is everyday people. People have to, you never know. Your next door neighbor, your buddy that you used to work with, or you currently work with. Um, just everyday, ordinary people. We're not rich. We out here, we enjoying life. Um, but you see the house in the background. I'm not poor either. I live comfortably, and I love my solitude. This yard I'm walking around now is my side yard. A little over an acre. So my house sitting on about an acre. So I got a little over two acres. You know, love it. It is what it is. But people who are out there thinking that everybody's suffering, not everybody. There are people out there suffering though. So I feel I have a lot to inform people of. I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of knowledge. So one things we'll work on is wisdom, experience, and knowledge for anybody really, but for up and coming, for the younger generation. Um, People want to learn. People want to enjoy life. Gain some knowledge and some experience from old guy like me or old fart. Whichever way you want to look at it. But I 20 years military, retired Air Force. MOS was 2T171, so I have a level 7 experience. Retired as a tech sergeant. Did it over 20 years and didn't want to go anymore. I seen things when I started in 1984. I started at point A, and by the time 20 years went by, I was right back at point A. So what goes around comes around. Things do change from time to time, but a lot of times things go back to normal and come back to the old. Because new stuff doesn't always work, but the tried and true actions and everything work. So when I talk about experience and everything, I talk about a lot of things. But I started this channel, like I said, to grow the community, everyday people, and I also would like to express to people that if you're doing good at a job, stick with it. You know, as they say, the early bird gets the worm. Yeah, the hardworking and people who take initiative will eventually be rewarded. So stick with it. Don't lose faith. Um, but if you are in a position where, as I was at one point in time, where you feel that the only thing you can do is quit and move on, then my suggestion to you was start looking. Keep it strong though. Stick with what you got for right now until you find something. Don't ever jump before you have something. So that's just words of wisdom, let's say. But I also worked retail for quite a while. I've worked military housing. I worked military housing for 6 years. You know, we went in, we straightened up things, we cleaned, we fixed things, painted houses, repaired them and everything. So for the next people coming in, you know, in the military housing. And then prior to that one, I was there 6 years for that one. But prior to that one, I worked a year at Walmart. I have a lot of retail experience. While I was in the military, I went to school, got a bachelor's degree in management and human resources. I figured that, you know, I would put that to use when I got out. Well, while I was getting out, I was on my terminal leave. What people don't know is that leave that you have saved up and everything, the end of your time and all, you take that, you know, and then you have however much. I had over 100 hours or 100 days saved up for leave. So I had a few months before I had to actually work. But you know, during that time frame, I was looking, looking for a job and everything, and which ain't an easy thing. Everybody thinks it is, but it's not. But eventually, you know, Walmart came up here to Fairbanks, Alaska in 2004, and I applied for a job that was $9.99. Well, people think education is everything too, but let me tell you, it's not. If you're a hard worker, and you know how to do things with hands, look at the trades, look at everything. You know, become a heavy equipment operator. Just do what you can. Because when it came down to it and everything, they hired me, and they hired me for the hardware department manager. And because I had experience, get this, you know, granted I have a 4-year degree, but get this, because I had a 4-year degree, they gave me an extra dollar. So, you know, actually $1.50 or so. Because what it turned out to be was I started working in 2004 for $11 an hour after retiring from the military. So when people talk about, you know, getting paid for what they do and stuff, yeah, I'm all for, you know, fair cost of living, fair pay, you know, for people working hard. Um, but that left a sour taste in my mouth as far as, you know, me putting all that time and everything in schooling, and then pretty much being told my 4-year diploma of Bachelor of Science was like toilet paper. But I took it in stride, did the best that I can, you know, and in less than a year, went from department manager of hardware um, to department manager of domestics, then to department manager of electronics, and from there, uh, about 2 months after being department manager of electronics, I became a support manager for the store. So we uh, we had probably about 500-600 people that worked in that store and everything. It's much bigger now because it went from a regular Walmart to a super Walmart. But I was only there for a little over a year because, you know, I was looking for opportunity. I was trying to become uh, assistant, uh, a store assistant to the store, you know, assistant manager. And from there, you go and you become a store director and stuff like that. So I was looking at trying to move up. Well, I tried 3 or 4 times and um, kept finding out that, you know, someone else would get it, someone else would get it. So I got tired of that, and that's when I went to work for uh, Chugach Corporation, which is was who we worked for housing maintenance. You know, I was hired as quality control. You know, so you go from making $11 an hour to over a $20 an hour job. Awesome. So keep working hard, Let's talk about, a little bit about work ethic, because one of the problems that I see today is that, um, people that come to work and just do the job, they're not there for the job. They're just there to fill a square. What now? For 15 years, I've run 7 different contracts for a company working with people with disabilities. 4 of those contracts were through the government. They're called Ability One. They're set aside programs for people with disabilities. 75% of the work is supposed to be done with people by disabled labor, and 25% is supposed to be done by people without disabilities. But if that tells you a little bit about my experience, because during that time frame of doing those 7 contracts, I budgeted, I managed the contracts, I frontline supervised the contracts, right there on the floor working side by side with everybody. And I respected everybody I worked with. Okay, that worked for me. I looked out for them. And ever since I became a supervisor in the military and stuff, I looked at family first. So if someone was having family trouble or anything, or needed to take care of something, I didn't hold it back. Go ahead, take care of it. You know, that's part of being someone who cares. Okay, and if I'll tell you what the key aspect, from the supervisor's point of view, is if you um, if you take care of your people, they're going to take care of you, and you just go with that aspect. And as long as the job's getting done without any problems or anything like that, you're great. So that's where the work ethic comes in. You show up to work every day on time, not being late, work hard, give it 110% every time. Um, Someone asks you to do something, you do it. You don't sit there, moan, groan, bitch, complain. Don't talk back. Okay. Respect the people that you work for, and work with, and all the time. It's about community as well, even on a job. You're all there to do, one common task. And the common task, when I was working the contracts, because I had 4 different contracts, 3 of them were custodial contracts. One of them was retail. We stocked and cleaned the commissary. So we pushed a lot of freight, and I'd work side by side with every single one of them. We'd go in at 7 o'clock at night, we'd show up, we'd do what we had to do, get the job done, and go home. We had, good time doing it, And people think that, going to work and everything has to be, just humdrum and boring. It doesn't have to be. It's what you make of it. It really is. And my advice is that people need to, if you get hired for a job, no matter what it was, whether you wanted to do it or you had to do it or whatnot, just do it, give 110%, and look to move up. Eventually, you will get rewarded. If you're a troublemaker, then no, you won't. I had at one point in time, I had 95 people to manage on those 7 different contracts. Then COVID hit, and we went from 95 people to less than 50. So I lost over half my workforce. And during that time frame, there was a lot of times that we were working 12, 14 hours to get the job done. But we stuck together, we hung together, and we got the job done. I no longer work for that company because one of my values is family first, like I mentioned earlier. And I gave the company 15 years of my life, and when I needed to do something for my family, I got nothing but a hard time, which did put a lot of stress on me. And at one point in time, I had blood sugar level of 535. and they say that's like ketoacidosis or whatever. I'm type 2 diabetic. I'm going to work on getting off the medication and stuff right now. I quit that job back September 15th of last year, and it's the best thing I've ever done because I get up, I wake up, I love it. Um, I put off a lot of projects during my time frame of working that 15 years because I was loyal to the company. So I always was, like I said, my work ethic wouldn't let me do anything but. I had been working since I was 11 years old. I started off working at, um, delivering papers and stuff. 3:30 in the morning, get up, fold them, and then deliver them. So I mean that tells you about myself and everything. But family first was a big one. Loyalty is another big one too. I had one of the jobs I had. My boss looked at me and said that, Scott, he's like, I give you credit. He says you're loyal. I was like, okay. He goes, but you're loyal to a fault. And I took it into consideration. And I looked at him and I said, well, the only thing I ask from you and any other supervisor I've ever had is if something's coming down the pipeline, tell me. Don't let it hit me off guard. And would you know, after about 6 years, actually, we had a moment where we had another contract come in and sign the 50-year contract for the maintenance and everything. But I was hired over there, and my boss was hired over there. But not even a year of working there and everything, um, I ended up not working for him no more because we had to agree to disagree. Wasn't fired. We just agreed to part ways. So that's some of the things that you encounter and everything. But I left most places amicably and continue to strive forward. My departure from the last place, was 15 years working with people with disabilities. And mind you, working with people with disabilities was great, was awesome because I was able to um, connect with the people. And when I seen that my hard work that I was putting in working with individuals with the disabilities, it made it was so gratifying. I've had people, I had one guy, hard time remembering this and stuff and other because he had a head trauma, and took me 6 months to do it. But he's now my forklift operator, which is great because he's out there doing a fantastic job. So that's gratifying to me. My hard work, everything being set and everything, paid off, and that that just makes you feel so good. So we talked about work ethic, we talked about loyalty, um, on aspects mostly from work vision. I mean, military and everything. We talked about uh, so along with the work ethic and everything and the loyalty and stuff. When I talk about work ethic, part of having a good work ethic is reliability and dependability. Goes a long way. So if you're out and about and you get a phone call and says, "Hey, I need you to go to work," and you say, "Well, no, I really can't." Yeah, suck it up and go into work because the simple fact being that's making you reliable. Someone can call on you, and you will take that call and put it to use and make some money. I know. I mean, guys, come on, let's be real, okay? Anybody who has a job and doesn't show up to work, you're missing out on over $100 a day. That's $100 that goes towards your piggy bank, your bills and everything else. But I mean, reliability is a big thing. I had during my time and everything. There's always certain people that you can rely on. There's all certain people that you can depend on, okay? Because they're there for you. Don't ask questions, just do, show, and put your best foot forward. Like I said, 110%. So, with that said and everything, I don't want people to think that the grass is greener on the other side. It's not. I mean, because if you work at a place that got a lot of crap, doesn't mean that the place that you go to doesn't have a lot of crap. So, with that and everything, I had actually wrote down some notes. Ethics, work. Oh yeah, work-life balance. So when I talk about family first and everything, and I talk about always being dedicated and you know working hard and all that, work-life balance is a big part of it. Because like I said, I gave everything for 15 years and I put off projects around the house. And I mean, I've been walking around my yard. It's not trashed or anything, but I have a lot of stuff I still got to accomplish. I've gotten a lot of projects done already, cleaning up around the yard. But that's part of work-life balance because separate work from life, get your projects done. Don't put your stuff on hold for the job. The job will always be there tomorrow. And people just need to understand that. But when you go to the job, 110% all the time. I also want to grow the community, to, talk about the DIY. I talk about hunting, fishing. Eventually, I'm currently, a little magged up a little bit because I tweaked my knee. So walking is not hard, but I'm trying to rest up and everything, get it better, so I can get back to doing my projects and stuff. But I will be during the summertime, which is the spring. It's not summer yet. During the summertime, I'll be walking around and everything. Wintertime, I'll come out for a little while. But 40 below gets a little rough some days. And we'll talk about hunting, fishing. We'll talk about, I want to eventually share my knowledge of what I know about politics, which is a good thing. It's really not a bad thing. But I let people know right off the bat. I'm a registered Republican. I voted for what we have on right now. I'll vote again for the same thing. If Donald Trump was on the ballot tomorrow, I'd vote again. Um, Everything that this administration has done, actually, hell, the first administration he was in, he took care of the military. He rebuilt the military. We got better equipment in. You know, uh, things that the things that I've seen in my lifetime is that every time a Democratic president was in charge or anything, they always took stuff away from the military. Just so you know, 20 years active duty in the Air Force, been all over this world, all over this country, and the one thing that I am is America first. And when I was a kid, I was make America great again, okay? Because America is the best country that there is. And if you don't think so, then you might want to leave. So, but I do want to get into the politics and stuff. I have a viewpoint on all sides, and I'd like to share it with everybody. Share it with the Democratic view that I see. Share the what independents are looking at, and you know just have an everyday conversation. Eventually, when we have our discussions or anything, I will bring receipts. I sit there. I don't sit, but I look up. I do research and everything, and there's a lot of things that we can talk about. The programs and stuff that people feel are good, and the programs that aren't. But right now, I think this administration is doing a bang up job, and I wish everybody would take the America First outlook the same way our current administration is. I voted for people who was there for me, was there for our country, not for people who aren't supposed to be here, not for people who want to come in and take advantage. I just don't. So again, I just want to have nice, peaceful conversations, and we'll do it during a walk or something. We'll try and enjoy everything, and just the best way to clear up differences is through conversation. So I watch a lot of other channels too. So if you hear something about something, you may hear it from me or you may have heard it from them. Doesn't matter. I want to grow the community. We also have. I'm currently a member of another community called School Common Sense Methods, and our good friends Michelle and Kevin of Kevin has 24/7. He has like 4 or 5. Between the two of them, they have like 6 channels. But Kevin, one of his mains is Kevin 24/7. There's also Better America, which is the both of them, and Michelle has Squirrel Tribe 2.0 and ST Talks. Um, check them out. Become members. Uh, we since we've had two classes on 2 Saturdays, two meetings, two groups, and just the discussion is great. The inspiration that people give you, and what you see is progress. And what the channel is about anybody who wants to do a YouTube channel and needs knowledge or wants assistance or anything or wants to learn, come on in, join in, be part of the community, get involved. With that said, I'll see you on the next one.